Everyone, welcome to another episode of the Live Your Full Potential podcast, where I have inspirational conversations with inspiring people. And today we have the mental health PT, James Ruffy, all the way from England. We met in Dubai just a few months ago. We really hit it off, or we really connected, should I say. And one of the things that really allowed me to connect with James was his incredible story of transformation. So before I let you share your story, and you've told it so many times, you tell it so well, I'll just let you roll with it. Just a little bit about you. Obviously, you're a coach, you're a trainer, and even though it doesn't say it online, physique athlete. I think if anyone follows you online, they have to aspire to, or at least most people aspire to have a physique, a body shape like yours. Even before I got onto recording this episode, I had to drop down and do 100 push-ups because I felt like I needed to get my pump on before coming to see you. James, thank you for being here, bro. Really looking forward to recording this episode. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. As I say, it's a pleasure to be on your podcast and to see you again.
It's a pleasure to have you, bro. So we met at Charlie Johnson's event in Dubai. You briefly shared your story with me, but we connected and I've been following your content ever since. I know everyone's content is for some people and it's not for some people, but your content really is for me. I love it. I love your storytelling. I love how you share your transformation of your own self, but also your clients' transformations. Let's start with you sharing your story, starting way back as far as you want
Mhm.
to actually the challenge, or let's call the adventure that you went on
Yeah.
and how you came out the other side.
Okay. Yeah. So it pretty much all started at about the age of 5 when I started playing football. I would try to mirror my dad. I look at my dad as my role model, my idol in life, and watching him play football, it was like the nearest thing that I could be to being like his little protege. So see, like he played in goal, and I said I wanted to be a goalkeeper. So he started to train me. So on weekends we'd spend hours kicking the ball around and like crafting my technique and whatnot. And he started to play football, and within 2 years of playing football, I got scouted by Charlton Athletic, who were in the first division, so just below the Premiership in English football.
Mm.
And yeah, and that was my the next 10 years of my life was taken up like playing for them. So every season, at the end of every season, there was like the renewal of your contract, and it was renewed and it was renewed. And at 13, I got made captain of the football team, which is rare for a goalkeeper. And obviously, you had like your coaches and trainers all saying about like you're going to make it, you're going to make it. And then at 17, when it was ready to sign the professional contract, like there was like the whole squad. So there's like 50 guys sitting in the training room, being called one to one into a meeting with all your coaches, and it was like, this is how my life's going to go. And it wasn't. It was. I was told that they didn't think I was good enough. They didn't think I was tall enough, and that they weren't going to sign me. And it wasn't. Thank you for the last 10 years, and you can go down this route now, or you can go down this route now. It was
Mm.
like, thanks for 10 years. Just like the door's there. And being
So
a
it wasn't
kid,
like they were trying to steer you in another direction. Like you can't do this, you should do this instead.
no,
And
that there's
and and in those 10 years, did you in your mind have another option, or did you just think this is it? I'm going to be a footballer.
I was all in on this, and it's something that I'm very aware of the people that I speak to now. It's very difficult because you have to be all in to make it work, obviously, especially in football, because you have to be the 0.1% that make it, and you have to go all in. But I think there has to be some form of backup option, because otherwise you're at that edge of the cliff, and it's like, and if you don't make it, the drop is
You're
horrendous.
fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, you are. And yeah, so there was no like aftercare, there was no other support, and it was just to go back to my life. And I'd never had any adversity, any rejection, and any form of failure up until then. So I went back to school, tried to finish. Well, I finished my education, but I obviously in the UK you have A levels at 16, 17, and you have the first year of your A levels is AS levels. I wasn't very. I was in the top 10% of the country, but I was at the bottom 10% of that. I found school a struggle. I didn't do very well in
Likewise,
my
bro.
yeah
Likewise.
yeah. So I found school a challenge, and at 16, like I didn't do very well in my exams, and because I went to a grammar school, it was like I was like, can I redo the year? They're like, no, no. If you want to carry on doing business studies, you've got to leave. So I had to leave to start college. So within the space of about 8 months, I'd gone from being the pin-up boy at my school because he's the guy that's going to make it to not making it and to not even then be in that school, leaving all my friends behind that I'd known for 6 years, seeing them like almost every day. um
Yeah.
Again, rejection, failure, not good enough. These things have obviously
Not accepted, literally.
no. And then obviously like, I started college, and then my mum's mum, my nan, she'd sold a house in London to come and live with us. We were having some building work done on our house for her to live in. And at Christmas time, she complained about a pain in the stomach. And then after Christmas, literally beginning of January, we took her to the doctors. The doctors examined her, didn't like what they felt, sent her to the hospital. I was at college, and I had like my mum rang me while I was at college, put the phone down, rings back, rings back, rings back. So I take the call, and just my mum is like inconsolable on the phone, like she's got cancer. And it was just like, fuck me, like what?
Your mom had cancer.
No, no, my nan, my mum's mum.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, so and obviously she got diagnosed at the middle of January, and she passed away the beginning of March. Obviously, like she was sent home. Obviously, it was like palliative care. It was when they found it. It like
Too
because
late.
you can so like to watch your nan, and it wasn't because I was at college. I was only there like 2.5 days a week to watch the rate of decline and to not do anything and not be able to do anything. That was the final thing. So it's like these three, again, trauma is very person dependent. And for someone that hadn't really been in the big wide world, like these three traumas in the space of 18 months was just a massive head fuck. And the way I dealt with that was to internalize everything. I didn't want to talk about my nan because it was too upsetting for my mum. I had already assigned the role of I was a failure to my parents for not making it as a footballer. I had already assigned the role that I was a failure to my friends because I wasn't at the same level of them academically to stay at school. And then the way I dealt with that was to start running. I just started to
To
run
start what? Running.
yeah, running. I used to run. Obviously, I built it up over 18 months, but I used to run for like 3, 4, 5 hours a day. And obviously, ultimately, it was because I was trying to run away from the shit that was going on in my head. And we all know that there's no distance you can travel to deal with that. And that's whereby after probably 6 months of the excessive exercise, I started to restrict my food as well. So I started to cut back on what I ate, and then eventually I was only eating one meal a day. And then after 18 months, I got diagnosed with anorexia, which is obviously like the form of eating disorder. But by the time it was diagnosed, I had already changed my eating habits from for 18 months of basically starving myself, waking up hungry, going to bed hungry. I rebelled against that, and it changed from anorexia to bulimia. So obviously then I was eating all the food I wanted and just not keeping it down and making myself sick.
So just to
So
be clear to everyone listening, yeah, so anorexia, starving yourself, and then bulimia, eating, but actually just throwing it up so you don't
yeah,
actually take it in.
yeah. So obviously the
Ouch.
anorexia, yeah, the anorexia was obviously the start of everything. But in hindsight, it wasn't anywhere near as bad as the bulimia. But obviously, that would have been at 18. So fast forward to 21, when I was at my worst, I was 5.5 stone. Bearing in mind, I'm now 6'4". So I was,
What's that in for the people outside the UK? What's that in
uh,
kilograms or pounds?
let's have a,
So from perspective, a professional footballer to an anorexic and bulimic at
yeah,
19.
it's, well, yeah, not, yeah, 19 is when that started. Yeah. So 5.5 stone is 35 kilos.
And you're what, 6'4"?
6'4", 193 centimeters. So It got to the point.
Wow,
It
that's
got to the
nothing. Basically,
no,
you wasted away.
yeah. Obviously, I'd had no energy to do anything. And obviously, what happened at that period of my life, that if I was sitting down and I got up too quick, literally pass out. And
Mm.
obviously, that's where there was a time. I think it was on a weekend. My mum and dad were we were in the kitchen. They were making food. I got up off the chair too quick, passed out, smashed my head on the kitchen floor, which was like a imitation marble, and then I woke up in hospital. And at that time, my parents had to sign a do not resuscitate form. Obviously, I was in high risk of going into cardiac arrest because my organs were failing, especially my kidneys. I was on a drip with potassium in one arm and phosphate in the other.
Mm.
But because obviously where I was making myself sick, I wasn't keeping anything down, and obviously I was also bringing up all the vital nutrients and minerals that our body needs. I was deficient in literally everything. Um, so I was never like sectioned under the Mental Health Act. I was basically encouraged to either go into an eating disorder unit or actually be sectioned under the Mental Health Act.
Mm.
So it was, I think I was 22 then. I had to go into an eating disorder unit and to basically learn how to eat again. So I
Uh,
was,
Sorry to interrupt, James.
yeah.
Like, just let's just pause there because I mean that's a horrible place to be, obviously. How are you feeling at this point? Because now you'd had this whole idea that you were going to be like your hero, your dad, then you were going to have the identity of being a professional footballer. Now at 22 years old, you're waking up in hospital, very anorexic. And I know some people say online, "Oh, I've got an eating disorder," or "I've had an eating disorder." And sometimes it's just to have some kind of identity online. But I've seen the pictures, like you were severely ill,
Mm,
but didn't actually realize it was to the point that your entire body at 6'4" weighed 35 kilograms. I mean, that is just insane. So now
yeah.
you wake up. How are you feeling? And the reason why I'm asking you this is because when I got hit by a car and I couldn't move when I woke up, I was forced to feel what I was feeling. So how
Mhm.
were you feeling at that time?
See, this is the difficult thing because obviously, as part of the eating disorder unit, was there was a lot of therapy involved in it, and obviously the therapists that I had within the eating disorder unit weren't very good for me. I think every therapy is important, but it's also very person dependent. Um, I was in an eating disorder unit with uh, 11 girls. My whole 10-year battle with my eating disorder, I never interacted with another guy. It was only ever me. And I wasn't aware of this until I started having therapy in the eating disorder unit. The first therapy session was with the guy sitting across the table from me. First question: do you want to kill yourself? I was like, no. Second question: well, it wasn't even a question; it was a statement. It's a bit odd. Like, you're the only guy. You're the only guy I've ever known that's had an eating disorder. It's usually a
Jeez.
female thing, and it was just like, um, I hadn't even that hadn't even entered my head. Now it has, but thank you for that.
Yeah,
So
but just more reinforcement of I'm not accepted for
yeah,
another reason.
exactly that. So it was,
So
yeah, it was,
irresponsible.
yeah, and obviously, again, you can't really be making like flippant statements with it as a therapist. So that's where, at the time, I was completely numb. I had shut myself off in regards to, like, I never not didn't want to be here. I always wanted to be here. I always wanted to exist. I had just completely let the let my let the eating disorder just take over my life, and it's something that I've spoke about obviously on my social media. And I don't think
Mhm.
when it's there are levels to, there's disordered eating, and obviously then there's eating disorders, and then there's obviously your your anorexia and bulimia. I don't think it's given enough like credence in the mental health space that an eating disorder will literally leave you with nothing, because it's like, oh, you had a talent as a footballer, we'll take that. You had all these relationships with your friends, we'll take that. You had a really loving, like, privileged upbringing with your parents, and your parents are your
And
rocks.
your
No, no,
grandmother
yeah,
will
no,
take that.
we'll take that, and it's like Stockholm syndrome. it leaves you, the only thing you have and the only thing you're attached to is the eating disorder itself. So it's like, if I get rid of it and I seek all this help and I get rid of it, I'm nothing.
I have nothing.
Yeah.
Fucking hell. So you refound your identity in
Within,
your eating disorder.
yeah. And it's
That's
just like,
crazy.
it was like I had, it's like an angel and a devil on my shoulder. Like I knew somewhere deep down in my subconscious, it was like, what you're doing is really bad. This isn't the life that was made for you. Your mum and dad haven't spent all this money on you and your education and your private education and your grammar school education for you to sit at home, waste away. And then like, you got the devil that's just like, yeah, but we've got each other. We've got each other. I'll give you that comfort. I'll give you that support. I'll be your crutch. Like, don't listen to anybody else. And obviously, for probably 8 of the 10 years, I let the devil win. And obviously, yeah, going through that type of therapy, that the eating disorder unit helped. I think it, because I was eating, and obviously it was. I don't know whether people would know. I don't know whether it's still like this now, because we're talking like nearly 15 years ago. But it was literally like you were sat with a meal. I was given like 2 Weetabix and a small glass of orange juice, and you sat around a massive dining table, and you fed, you're giving your food, you're eating it, and you've literally got like 12 nurses watching you. And it's like, considering like you're struggling with an eating disorder and you don't like to eat, and you've got like 24 eyes locked in on you with clipboards and like pens, and like, oh, is he eating it? Is he happy? Like, just the judgment. It was just like, fucking hell. Like,
I mean,
but
is that an exaggeration? Because it sounds like a scene from a movie. Was
no,
that how it was at
I don't,
times?
I don't know if you've seen like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. It's kind of, it was very similar to that in regards to like, it wasn't, I don't know, like in today's modern age, it probably wasn't, it probably, the practices still wouldn't be true. But then obviously, like looking back, it's exactly what I needed, because I was in control, and the control that I had got me into that position. So I needed someone to go, no, you're not taking the piss anymore. Eat this. We're going to watch you eat it. You're not going to allow it to leave the table for 2 hours until it's pretty much digested in your stomach. Then you can go and sit in the lounge and read a book and whatnot. So it was extreme, but had I not have changed anything, I wouldn't be here today. My body would have shut down. So it was extreme, but obviously what I was doing to myself was extreme. So it was kind of like rebalancing it. But obviously, coming out of the eating disorder unit after like 6 months of like intense therapy, it helped me. But then also it, basically, the way I described it is, in the rose tinted glasses came off. Like, I saw myself in the mirror, how everybody, and I had like my parents' friends thought that I potentially had like cancer, because of how I was pale, I was gaunt. And obviously, like I said,
Yeah.
I was close to, I was close to death. But the thing that I realized, I needed help, and I realized for the first time that it was like, I can't change on my own. I realized that I had a problem and I couldn't fix it on my own. But then it
Can I
also
just,
come with,
sorry, James, can I just ask you a question? First of all, thank you for sharing what you shared about the devil and the angel on your shoulder,
Mhm,
because I think that relates to every addiction. You
mm,
know, every addiction in the world is wanting more of what you don't want. So
100%.
you've got both the angel and the devil there, and you're in this battle within yourself. So thank you for sharing that. But what was the catalyst? You said I started to look at myself differently. I'm using my own words. What was the
Mhm.
catalyst for that?
The catalyst to change was, it was about at 26, when I got back into work.
Mm.
Again, my dad, using my dad's network, he was able
Didn't you
to,
say something switched when you were there in the hospital?
after coming out the eating disorder unit,
Yeah.
I think that was the foundations to my recovery. I said, because the perspective, I had, obviously I had body dysmorphia, because I had to have, in my head, it was like, if I sat down like I'm sitting on a chair now, if I had like a roll of skin, But at the time it
Not
wasn't.
fat. Yeah.
In my head, it was fat. It's like if there's a roll, God, I'm not lean enough. I'm not skinny enough or whatever. And I think that changed in my head. But obviously, once it's like it's like the what I realized I had a problem and I realized I need to fix it. But then the realization of how I looked, I then had the anxiety, social anxiety, depression. So it's like the wave of like it's like you're leveling up. I was at a level whereby I was accepted of my mental health problem, but because I'd accepted it and I'd moved up one rung of the ladder, I then opened myself up to all these new feelings of like didn't want to go out.
Comparison,
Yeah,
judgment. Yeah.
yeah. And it was obviously, but you like you need to go through those stages to level up and progress.
Different levels, different devils, bro.
100%. So, but in terms of like the true catalyst to my recovery, I obviously was the eating disorder unit therapy, and it was also getting back into work. Like the one thing you say, finding your purpose. And for 9 years.
So you spoke about purpose and getting back into work, which I really, really, of course, me being me, I want to know more about that. But you said, I'm for myself eager to know. You said you looked in the mirror, were in the hospital, you just got out, and you started to see yourself differently.
Mhm.
Why? You said your body dysmorphia changed. Why?
I think it was to do with the fact that I was eating 3 very small meals a day, but I was actually
Yeah.
like keeping them down. So I think like cognitively, my brain almost like came back to life or was functioning at a higher level than what it had been. So I was actually I wasn't starving my body and I wasn't stopping like the nutrients that my body and my brain needed. So it kind of shifted me out of that really bad mindset that I was in. Like they say, like you are what you eat. So invariably for 6 or 7 years, I was nothing because I didn't eat anything. And obviously,
That's true.
yeah, like the body is an incredible thing. And it's like even if you torture it for a number of years, it's so resilient.
Dude,
And obviously,
mic drop. Mic
yeah,
drop for everyone listening to this episode. You can torture yourself for years and you can just one day change. You can
yeah.
one day stop. I think is it fair to say that the devil on your shoulder went away and you built a more healthier relationship with yourself,
Yeah,
or
it took
connection, a healthier connection to your body?
healthier connection. Yes, like I say, it still took me even getting back into work. It still took me probably 2 years to actually for me to like be completely honest with myself and go, I don't have this anymore. Um, so like I said, like the finding the purpose. I think for so long where I was left to just like I said, the eating disorder stripped everything away, and it leaves you with time. And anyone that struggled with an eating disorder, time, boredom are like the devil makes work for idle thumbs, and
Yeah.
that's exactly what an eating disorder wants. So it's like if you can fill your time up, and that's whereby, as part of my recovery, people don't understand why I keep myself as busy as I do, and obviously that's now become my norm since I've become the reinvention of myself. But I think just be able to get back into work, and it's like all these things that I just in my adult life I never had. I never had a purpose. I never had like, oh, I need to be at this place at this time until this time. I have a set of activities to do. I have to win new business as a business development manager. And it's like I have to do this, I have to do that. And at the end of the week, it was like as soon as I got home, I was working again. I was lead sourcing. I was
Mm.
finding new people to target because it was just like I have to keep myself busy. Like that was the one thing that I'd identified in myself. Not no therapist, no just my own actions. Is in boredom. That time where I have nothing in my head to do. That's when it creeps in. That's when the devil starts to emerge. And it's just like if I can keep myself busy, then that won't be there. That will start to be dormant. And then obviously, the longer I keep myself busy, the new routine I get in, and then that eating disorder tendency will eventually go. And obviously, it had reduced. I think the easiest way that I can explain it is in if you were a smoker trying to quit and you went from 40 a day to 20 a day to 10 a day. It was like that was the rate of my recovery from the bulimia was kind of like that. It was still there, just was nowhere near as often. So you count that as a win. And then it was like, if I don't do it for the day, I've won the day. And if I win, if I don't do it for like 4 days in a week, I've won the week. And so that's how in my head it was like, I've got to win the day, win the week, win the months, and obviously then the months kind of then turn into years.
Yes.
So the initial transformation was mental. The physical thing came a lot later on. That job that I got, I worked there every day for a year and a half. Didn't
What
take a
was the
day off.
job?
I was a business development manager for a double glazing company. So
Oh, right.
windows and doors and conservatories, and like it wasn't glamorous, but to me it was like the best job in the world, just to reignite that fire in my belly and to have my purpose. And I got told to have like a week off, and I went to visit my brother who lives in Sheffield. So it was like a 300 mile journey up north, and I went to stay with him for a week. And while I was up there, I got offered a job at his place of work as a construction buyer, which was like completely different job to what I was doing. But it was more money. Obviously, living up north, the cost of living is a lot less, and it was like one of them like epiphany moments where you go, "Am I ready for this? Like, I have no one around me to like look after me. Am I mentally well enough to embark on this journey on my own?" And it was just like, I've got to try. I've got to. If it doesn't work, I can come back. But you don't know if you don't know, or you don't know if you don't go. So it was like the big test to
I
me.
like that. Say that again.
If you don't, well, if you don't go, you don't know. Like if
No,
you have
yeah,
to,
you said you don't know if you don't go. I've
yeah,
never heard that before, bro. I like that. If you
yeah.
don't
So
know, if you don't, oh yeah, sorry.
yeah,
I
yes,
lost. Yeah. Anyway.
yeah. So obviously, I ended up moving from down south to up north, and I worked at that job for 6 months, and then I got made redundant. So I was jobless.
Ouch. Not
Yeah,
convenient for you,
not
but
no.
after your story, yeah.
Yeah, so it was like another. I think that probably was the first point of actual resilience when I had recovered mentally, and it was like the big setback. Like, shit, what am I going to do? So what do you do? What do you do when you've moved like 400 miles up north? You've been made redundant. You go on holiday, don't you? You book a holiday and you go. It was this. I went to Egypt. I went to Sharm el Sheikh. I had like 12 nights there, and it was like a reassessing the world. What do I do? Do I come back down south? Do I move back down near my parents? Do I stay the remainder of my tenancy up in Sheffield? See what I can do in the next like 5 months, and then reevaluate then. Like, it's best to do that. Let's do that. So came back. So I had like 5 months left of my apartment in Sheffield, and then I met a girl. Within about a week of coming back, I met a girl, started chatting with her, and that was the next 18 months of my life taken up. My apartment came up for renewal after 5 months, and obviously things were going well with her, and she asked me to move in with her because I either got another apartment or I moved in with her and her daughter, and it was like, yeah, let's do it. And so it became the first person that showed me any attention in over 10 years. I latched onto that. Like, someone likes me, someone wants to get to know me, someone like values
Someone
my time.
accepts me.
Yeah, and it was like, fuck me, it's just like as rare as rocking horse shit. This was like to have. It was like the job was a whole new experience for me, like the whole purpose. But then to be valued as an individual, like she knew my story, she didn't care. Like she accepted the flaws and she accepted the past, and it was like, Christ Almighty, like I'm all in on this. And I probably misread the situation. I didn't see red flags, and I was probably very much emotionally mature, and I'm still like that today. I'm very much to a point. I'm a people pleaser, especially within my circle. I like to feel that I add value to my friends, so I probably go above and beyond at times. But everything was fine. Like, it was that I'd come up with this idea that this was going to be me and her and her daughter for the rest of our lives, until one day I was going to work. She sent me a WhatsApp message: "James, I don't love you anymore. I'm going to stay at my dad's tonight. I want you to move out." And it was just like,
Jesus, bro.
fuck. And then I had to go to work. I had to work that whole day,
And did
numbing.
you?
Yeah. See, again, it was like otherwise my
Resilience.
head was going to be mashed. So I had to I had to pack up some clothes, and I think I stayed in a hotel, and then I moved in with my brother and my sister-in-law, and it was there that it was the first time that it was I had every right to play the victim. I had every right to go back to the life that I had before and use my eating disorder as my crutch to get over this. It felt like a bereavement. It felt like my life had finished. And I
Loss again.
yeah,
Just like what happened when you were a teenager 3 times.
exactly that. It was like this. A failure. I can't control it. I have no control over this. So like in my head, it was just like have a binge, have a binge, have a binge. Just go and buy them foods, and you'll feel better. I ended up for some reason, because I didn't get the closure from her, I made up the closure in my head, and it was I don't feel that I look like a man. At the time, I was 9.5 stone at 6'4", so I was still very much underweight.
Skinny.
Yeah, mentally, obviously, I'd recovered, but physically, I hadn't, and it was like that was the. It's because I don't look like a man, and that macho view of if anything ever happened, I'd probably step in to sort something out, but I'd probably get the shit kicked out of me because I had no presence, I had no value as a man, and so I didn't have any self confidence. So where do you find that confidence? In the gym.
In the gym,
I
baby.
Yeah, went to the gym, and I remember breaking down in the gym, speaking to the gym owner, and I told him my story, and I was like, man, I don't want to look like this anymore. Like I don't feel like a man. Like I'm 28 and I still get ID, and it's just like it's not it's I'm not where I want to be, like physically. Like I've
Yeah.
done all this stuff, and he said to me, it's like if you want to change your life, commit yourself to me, and I'll change your life. So I did. Literally in 18 months, I'd put on 5.5 stone. Um, I I literally like from when I was really bad at 21, I basically doubled my weight. So I put on 35 kilos in 18 months. And I went from 9.5 stone to like just over 15. Obviously
That's like 100. That's like 100 kilos, no?
yeah,
100
yeah,
kilograms
yeah,
or
yeah. So
200 pounds, 200 same pounds.
that's it. Exactly that. Yeah. So I tracked my journey on Instagram, and I know I got a whole load of crap off people saying that I was doing it for attention. And I think a part of it probably
Oh,
was.
fuck.
A part of it probably was like I'll get into that in a little bit, but it was more to do with
Yeah.
accountability. Like my background from football came into play then. Like I'm the most competitive person that I know. Like I can't have a kickabout in the park with my mates because to me it's like a Champions League final. Like if someone screws up, I go fucking mental. Like how could you do that? Just pass me the ball or whatever. Like so I can't. I'm all in, and that's how I was like if I track my journey on Instagram, I can't go back. I have to succeed. I have to be every time I post a video. It has to be. I have to be better. I have to be stronger. I
That's
have to be fitter. And that's what it
that
was.
is powerful, bro. Just to interrupt there, I call that a public declaration.
Yes.
Conor McGregor has spoken about it. The UFC fight has spoken about it. If you say it, you have to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not using his exact words, but that's really powerful. Make it
Mm.
public. If people really want to see a life transformation, not just make it public, but do what James did and actually say, I've not done it yet. I'm going to do it.
Mm.
Just watch me and join me on the journey.
Yeah, exactly. And obviously that then got me a little bit of like the following. Obviously because people obviously didn't really know the backstory. They just saw some
Yeah.
guy that went from like skinny to big. And that led on to I got into modeling. I got into like acting work. I got to work with like some crazy famous people that again, I'm sure you can relate to this. There are points in your life where you go, how the fuck have I got here? Like how am I here? How am I actually present at this moment with all these
Bro,
people that I I've watched on telly or I've seen them in a magazine or I've seen them on Instagram and now they're sitting across the room from me and they're coming over and talking to me. It's just like, whoa, like if that doesn't get you, like, I've got goosebumps now talking about it. If that doesn't cement the fact that the universe rewards you for your fucking hard work, like that that's the prime example. And it's obviously these little wins that you get. It's the universe going, you know what, you've been through a whole load of crap and you have not given up. We're going to give you like this little win, or this momentous day that is going to be like this like seminal moment in your life that you're never going to forget. And yeah, there's been quite a few of them on the road to recovery. And then obviously I became a personal trainer in February 2019. Again, didn't envisage doing that when I embarked on my journey, but it became this moment whereby I didn't understand anything about personal development. It's not like I read it and gone, I'm going to do that. It just happened. Like, I didn't understand about like the declaration of what I'm about to do, but I did that. The whole listening to podcasts, listening to mindset podcasts. Like, I do that every day now, but back then I was just doing it because it interested me. It was like I wanted to understand why I did what I did in regards to like the eating disorder, how I let that take over, but then also what was it in my brain that made me want to change. So it's like I was just jumping down rabbit holes trying to understand my mind better so I could use it as fuel going forward. And I think that's sometimes you can get yourself out of ruts. You don't really understand it. And it's obviously like if you don't understand how you got out of the hole, you're more than likely going to go back in that hole, and then you're not going to know the pathway or the method to get yourself out.
You did one of the most powerful things any human being can do, and that's seek to understand yourself.
Mm,
Because when you seek to understand yourself, you can understand others. Or in your example specifically, when you understand your own suffering and why you suffer, you can understand why others suffer. And when you can change yourself from suffering to surviving to thriving, you now have full permission to do the same because you get it.
yeah,
And that's what people want. People that are suffering in the world, that are your followers, that are your future followers, your future fans, clients, students, they want to know that you get it. And I don't think anyone can get it more than you if it comes to, self-harm, self-abuse, body dysmorphia, even addiction. I
mm,
think that you could in your content, I don't really see you talking about addiction, but fuck me, there is millions of people that are addicted to shit that you are
mm.
like a saving grace for them. Just get to the fucking gym. And by the way, here's some amazing mindset tools as well. So sorry, I just wanted to share that. But yeah, you
Yeah,
said you didn't understand personal development back then. You were just kind of doing it.
yeah. No, and obviously it's not until like obviously it's a fundamental part of my life like now. And it's just odd how I managed to get myself down that path like quite early on without really understanding it, but I just embraced it anyway. I went on this, yeah, just this big journey of um I understood exactly how I'm made up, how I'm wired, what my in terms of like flaws, what my flaws are in regards to like the boredom being the killer. So like
Mm.
obviously I lived on my own after I split up with that girl. I was single for nearly like 4 years, and I have all these people that go like, "Look at you! Like you're really good looking. Like why aren't you out being Jack the Lad? Like why don't you? You could
Yeah,
have any
you
girl.
look like you look like a professional footballer.
Yeah, and it's like you could get any girl you want, and it's like I don't want it. Like, and this is where again the people don't understand the full story. Like most lads usually do their one night stands, their lads holidays, their like the binge drinking culture from
Yeah.
probably 17 to 25. That's when I had my eating disorder. So it's like in terms of I don't know, I'm very self-confident in myself, but I've never ever like gone into a bar or chatted up a girl. I've never done it. I've never I've never been big in the drinking culture. One of the things that
Likewise.
I'm very aware of is that I don't know as much now, but I understood that I have a very, very addictive personality. And obviously, if I like something, I'm probably far more mentally mature now. But going back probably 10 years, 5 years maybe, Like I think if I tried something and I liked it, I don't think there was that switch in my head that had gone, actually, this isn't beneficial for you. Don't do it.
Mm.
And that's why, like, I've never drunk, I've never smoked, I've never taken drugs. And it's funny that people say to me, mate, you're well boring. It's
You
like,
have never in your life drank, smoked, or taken drugs.
no, no, because
Wow.
because for 10 years, obviously my life was taken up with this eating disorder. And it's like the coming out the other side of that and learning about myself, it was just like if I was to do some drug in particular, and it's like, and I liked it, and it gave me that nice feeling. There wouldn't have been that filter in my head that goes, well, actually, that could lead you down a road of self destruction. Like, I don't think I'd have had that mental maturity to actually look at the bigger picture. So, and then I always coin the phrase from my friends, go, "Oh, you boring? Like, can't have a drink. Like, why don't you drink? You can't miss what you don't know."
Very true.
And it's just like, yeah, like, but like the feeling of getting drunk and being out with your mates, never had it.
I started my career as a coach, as a personal trainer in London.
Yes.
And one of my clients, he was very successful and he hardly ever drank. And I would say, how do you do that? I mean, look, in my 20s, I did enough drugs, alcohol, smoking for the both of us. I was a party boy in my early 20s, and I absolutely loved it. But I'm very blessed, very lucky, touch wood, that I've never been addicted to anything in my life. I think it's just luck, pure luck. But I said to him, how do you do that? Because at the time I was a personal trainer, I was fit, healthy, but I would go out on weekends and I'd get drunk with my mates. And I said, how do you do that? How do you not drink? And he said something that I've never forgotten. He said, when someone confronts me and says, oh, why don't you drink? Like the lads you're talking about,
Mhm.
he goes, I'm too strong. I don't need it.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like a little bit of a diss. Like you're weak. You need alcohol to have a good time. It's just
Yeah,
like, I'm too strong. I don't need
yeah.
alcohol to have a good time.
I think that's a very I may start using that. Like, yeah, it's very true. I think like you said, if you need to have that, they say it's Dutch courage, don't they? Like I'll have a drink and that gives me the courage to speak to that girl or take part in that activity. And you think like, why do you need something foreign? Like, surely you need to seek that from within first. Obviously,
Bro, yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
sorry, continue.
that's what I'm saying. Obviously, there's something lacking within yourself that you don't feel that you have the ability to do that. So do some internal work, find out what that is. Is it confidence issues? And it's like, if it's confidence issues, how could that be fixed? Like, if it's from a physical point of view, the gym, obviously. And if it's to do with the fact that if you have one drink that leads to 10, it's like, well, there's a reason for that. And it's like, is there some underlying trauma that you've never addressed? And it's like, maybe it's worth journaling that or speaking to someone about that. And it's, yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second because that's almost a controversial thing, and it's definitely going to have some people thinking, "Oh, what the hell?" I'm sure someone's going to watch or listen to this episode and think, "Oh, that's just so fucking boring."
Mm,
But I've never spoken about this online on any kind of platform. People really have to think, why do I need to consume a substance to feel like I'm having a good time? Some kind of pharmaceutical, some form of toxin that I'm putting into my body where I might feel good during, but I'm going to feel absolutely shit after. And I'm no fucking martyr or saint.
mm.
Like I said, I did a lot of partying in my 20s and going into my 30s, I got less and less. Now in my 40s, I barely touch alcohol. But it's not because I've decided that I've not gone on a like a made a promise to myself that I'm not going to drink alcohol. I just love myself
Mm.
a little bit more every year. And it got to a point where over the last 12 months, I'm like, if I have a sip of alcohol, I ask myself, like, are you actually enjoying this? And I never understood the drinking culture for a long time, but I was a part of it. And
Mm.
actually, living in London and coming from the music background, I was drinking, doing cocaine, and that got less and less and less as I got older. But I was still doing it. And the truth was, I wasn't happy being out. And it probably was a mixture between a lot of things that we both teach our clients, which is you're not happy with yourself. You're not happy with the actual thing that you're doing. It's not
Mm.
serving your highest good or your values. Or maybe it's just you're not happy being with those people.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's your thoughts on that, dude? Let's go a little bit deeper on that, because there's a lot of people in the world, probably most people in the world, that drink alcohol and don't actually question why they drink it.
Yeah, I'd say I would steer towards your answer really. I think there's clearly something lacking within you that you feel that you have to have this almost like this liquid confidence or this liquid thing
Liquid
to either
confidence. I like that.
yeah. And as I say, I think it is. I think there's also a part of it that people feel that they have to socially fit in. Like all my mates are doing it, so I've got to do it. Because I don't want to be judged. I don't want to be ridiculed. I don't want to be the one that stands out. And again,
Yeah.
that's a group dynamic thing, but that also goes back on the person because they don't feel confident enough to say no. Um,
Mm.
and obviously, like I guess the pair of us, in regards to like going through your own journeys, like when you've completely fallen out of love with yourself, and then you gain back control and you gain back that love, like I I've said to people all the time, like, I don't give a fuck what people think about me. Like, is drinking and starting up a drinking culture within my routine going to serve me in any way that's going to be a positive aspect to my life? No. And I think that's whereby, because I've already been on this like journey of transformation and whatnot, like I understand what serves me. I don't think a lot of people have been on those type of journeys.
Mm.
And I think until they do, or until they potentially work with a coach or a mentor that can basically not enlighten them, and it's not patronizing them, but it's kind of like going deep within their psyche and understanding like, why do you drink? Like, oh, because I enjoy it. No, but yeah, but why? What is it about it? Is it the social environment that you're in? Is it the actual drink that itself? Is it about the feeling that it gives you? Is it the way that it changes your behavior? And it's like, because
Great.
if it's because of some of them things, then it's not that it's like a massive concern, but it means that there is something within you that needs to be served by an external source that makes you feel better.
And even if they don't stop drinking, just answering all those questions you just said is going to lead to them making better decisions, because they're just going to have the awareness of that when they're drinking. Does that make sense? And do you
Yeah,
agree?
yeah, yeah, 100%. And that's like the one thing that the biggest golden nugget of information that I give to my clients is about whatever your purpose is in life and whatever your goal is, like, is what you're about to do going to get you closer to that goal or push you further away? And it's
Mm.
like that little golden nugget to me, it's like
Amen, brother.
if you suffer with, if you have some form of addiction, and it's like, and again, I was in that position millions of times when it's like you feel like you're at the edge of the cliff and you've got the eating disorder of the voice, like jump, 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 like I'll catch you, don't worry. And it's like you're at that point whereby, okay, I'm so tempted. I have all this urge to have this comfort, to have this release, to have this familiar feeling that served me so well when I was in a past state. Is like, is what I'm about to do, this binge that I'm going to plan, is that going to help me become the person I want to be? And it's
Yeah.
just having that. It could be 30 seconds. Could be 30 seconds of thought of going, is that going to help me? Is that cigarette going to help me? Is that drink going to help me? Is it going to help me feel better in the morning? Or am I going to go, fuck me, I've screwed up? And then you're going to start opening up that world of self sabotage. I'm not good enough. I'm not strong enough. I can't deal with life without reverting back to this. Therefore, fuck it, I'll give up. I'll just let it consume me again. It's like, if you can have that inner talk with yourself for a minute, that could be the difference between you progressing or declining.
Bro, I totally agree. That one question, if someone made that, like, you can't see, even people on video, but I've got goosebumps right now. If someone made this their primary question in life, is this serving my higher self or not? Your life would continue to change year by year by year by year. Just that. And just on the note of alcohol, I read something once that I really want to share. Is that okay?
Yes.
And if you've never heard of this before, I mean, you'll love it. Years ago, when I started my career, I would say to people, and this is as much as I would go into it, I would say everything in the world is energy. I would quote Einstein. And I would say you would match the frequency of the reality that you want. And actually, all alcohol is low frequency on the vibration chart. That's as deep as I'd go into it. Like, you got to understand the reason why you're hungover is, as well as consuming all the sugars because you're so dehydrated, is you are vibrating at a very, very low frequency right now. But I read this: alcohol in Arabic is alcohol or alkul. Alcohol is said to have come from the Arabic word al-kul or al-gul, which means body eating spirit. I'll just pause there for a second.
Wow.
Perhaps this is why alcoholic drinks are called spirits. Drinking alcohol is one of the fastest things you can do to lower your vibration. And here's the fucking power point. And it has been used as a tool to keep human consciousness at a lowered state for thousands of years.
Wow.
What do you see advertised everywhere?
Mm.
Alcohol, alcohol. What is the norm? Alcohol, alcohol. You're almost not even accepted when you don't drink alcohol.
Yeah, 100%.
Like, imagine if people didn't drink alcohol. Everyone would want to be an entrepreneur. Everyone would be chasing their greatest goals, going after their best life.
Yeah.
Let's not sound like conspiracy theorists, but you know what I'm saying, right? The people above, they don't want that, bro. Keep drinking,
Yeah.
and keep feeling
Wow.
sorry for yourself. Don't worry, we've got loads of pills. We've got loads of
Wow.
pills to take care of you. And I know that's something that also you have something to share about: medication.
Yeah. Yeah. I've obviously like recently I've, in terms of like my mental state, it's probably been the worst it's been probably since I recovered. So probably like 8 years since November. My mental health has probably been at its lowest for the last 8 years, and even at this moment in time since the
Oh,
middle of
that's very
January.
honest, dude.
Well, it's like, again, if you take control of it and you take ownership, it can't affect you. That's the biggest thing, and that's the biggest thing that I try and talk about on the social media and
I
with my
salute you.
with my clients. Is in regards to like the reason why mental health is such a prevalent thing is because society deems it a taboo. If you don't talk about it, and if you don't talk about it, you keep it locked in, and that's where it festers, and that's where it's
And
like
that's why men kill themselves, because they can't talk about it.
100%. And it's like it's deemed, like we said about the society thing and people keeping it under lock and key and under control. It's just like, why? Like, that isn't a form of strength. A form of strength is to go, you know what, I'm fucking struggling. Like, I genuinely am. And again, people like look up to me as this, I don't know, the person that's been through all this stuff and is able to continue like a high frequency, or however you want to say it. It's like, no, it's not. I'm only human. Like, obviously I had, and I told you obviously on our chats, and I'll happily share it. Obviously, I got married last year in June, and in November, I found out that I have a genetic defect which has left me infertile, so I can't have kids. And as of yesterday, bearing in mind it's Valentine's Day, I I my marriage has ended. Um, and obviously, the reason why I've been seeking therapy and speaking to someone was to just unpack all these feelings that I had in my head. And I know that, could I do it on my own? I probably could. It wouldn't be as successful. And I think to have someone that has no emotional attachment to me and my life can probably give me a better perspective on how to deal with things better. So I've been seeking therapy, talking about the feeling of almost like not feeling like a man, trying to like being like emasculated. Like, what's our life goal? What's men's goal in life? To spread the seed, to follow, to carry on the family name. And obviously I can't do that, so I must be on this planet for another reason. My reason must be maybe more spiritual, or to leave some form of like, don't do what I did. Don't do that. Like, this is, I did this and it led me to this. I've now been able to battle my demons, and it's about spreading that positive message of my
Mm.
recovery. That must be my message. That must be my calling, because it wasn't to have kids. And it's a it's a horrible thing to have to deal with. But like everything, you have two ways to deal with stuff. Let it derail you to the point where you end up jumping back down old old ways, and then if you're the bottom rung of cards, I have people that rely on me, and it's like, and if I go, everybody goes. So there's that route to take. Who's that helping? Fucking no one. Or you go, right, this is the issue. Can it be changed? No. How do I deal with it? How can I carry on in life, or how can I use that as a tool to better myself?
Bro, can I just share something? First of all, James, thanks for sharing that in the episode. Obviously, we discussed that in private, but I hope this is helpful to you. Not that you have to compare yourself to these people, but I, like yourself, have been on a constant mission of reinventing myself, improving myself, facing my shadow, my darkness, and keep working on myself every year. Why? Because I believe deeply that I have a purpose, and my purpose is to make some kind of impact while I'm here. So, like, we resonate on that level very, very
Yeah.
deeply. I once read something that really gave me spiritual strength, and it was along the lines of the people that came here to change the world have to accept that that role comes with sacrifice. Jesus got hung on the cross. Mahatma Gandhi starved himself to death to get his purpose fulfilled. Mother Teresa, lived poor and just served the people that she was serving. And she couldn't do anything else. That's all she did with her life. Martin Luther King got assassinated, or Martin Luther King Jr. And I can go on and on and on and on. Nelson Mandela
Yeah.
was forced to spend 27 years in prison, or as he would say, preparing
Mhm.
for him to make the impact that he had on the world. And I think that, kind of like the hero's journey, you can find it everywhere. And I just wanted to share that with you. Maybe you take it in, maybe you don't, maybe think about it later. But that one sacrifice might be the thing that you need for you to fulfill your purpose.
I think that's the kind of that's the comfort that I've taken. Like you said, it must be that I was here for another reason. That's I think that's, again, that's the positive way to look at things. Because when I first found out, and before it was like fully understood that it was a genetic problem, the first thing I thought was it was my eating disorder. And it was like, despite
Of
the fact
course.
that I've battled them demons, it's like the past going, yeah, you fucked around for a while. This is the repercussions of it. And there wasn't really much of a comfort, but there was a comfort in the fact that it wasn't something that I put myself through that has caused it. Obviously, I was born with it, so it didn't matter. I found it out at the age that I did, and again, the timing of it was brutal, but it was always going to be. So there's not so much a comfort, but it was always going to happen. So it was just a matter of time before I found out. So again, it's like, that's another way to be able to like to deal with it. But yeah, I think in terms of the medication, like, I had people talk to me, and even when I was in the eat disorder unit at like 21, 22, was about taking antidepressants, taking the medication, because all the other girls in the unit were taking them. And it was like, again, I was probably not that there's like levels or competition, but I was incredibly ill, and like mentally, physically. But even I looked at these people, and it was just like, they're not with it. Like, they're not, like, cognitively, they're not with it. And it's like, I built up this view in my head, and I stick by it to today, because I had people say, well, like if you take these things, it can help raise you to a level whereby you potentially be able to cope better. Then you don't need to take them, and then you can raise yourself back up. And it's just like, no, like I want to be able to talk about my problems fully conscious and fully in it, and feel every single feeling of pain, because that way I'm dealing with it, and it may take longer. It may take a longer process for me to be able to sit, understand my feelings, feel that sorrow, feel that anguish, feel that pain of being okay. It's not emasculated, but that's how I felt, and that's in the back of my head.
Yeah.
That's kind of
What you
how I
felt
feel.
is what you felt. Yeah.
Exactly. But it's like, it's the fact that I'm able to feel. I feel that if I took medication, it masks it, and it numbs it. It numbs that pain. And it's like the only way you deal with things is by facing the pain. And it's like it's uncomfortable, but you only grow through discomfort. And it's obviously like I've learned more about myself. Like obviously it's taken a lot out of me. My head has been, whereas before it was like prioritizing, there was work and it was obviously building what I was doing. This has taken like a massive chunk of headspace for the last like 3 or 4 months. But I think to be able to process it, it's going to be able to get me back, or maybe not back, but get me forward to a level whereby I understand it, and it's freeing up that headspace to then focus on growing my business,
Yeah.
from a personal point of view, and from a corporate point of view as well. So I just feel that like you mentioned earlier about the society and the alcohol, and obviously what that represents to me, that medication is the same thing. I think there are enough things that people can do naturally to be able to deal with the problems that they have, and that literally could be something as simple as getting better sleep, being better hydrated, making better food choices, getting out and walking. Like you don't, when people want to say about exercising, people think it's going to the gym, bodybuilding. Like weight
Mhm.
training is massively important, but if you've had a sedentary lifestyle for 10 years, just getting out for a walk, like go to the
Progress,
walk.
just making
Yeah,
progress.
exactly. And it's the levels. And I think like with you and I, like one of the things that I have within the fitness industry is obviously like it's full of charlatans. Let's be honest. It's all buy my product, buy this package, because I will get you where you want to be within 3 weeks. And it's just like it's fucking dangerous to be making claims like that. I'm very realistic with my clients, because obviously everyone's on their own journey. Everybody's person dependent, and to me, it's all about managing their expectations. And that probably isn't sexy from a social media point of
Mm.
view, because if you've got someone that goes, "Oh, pay me £1,000, and in 2 weeks I'll get you that six pack," whereas obviously I'll be like, well, my training is X amount, but to be realistic, it's probably going to take you 6 months. But in them 6 months, it's not just lift that, eat that. It's understanding yourself to the point within that 6 months, you won't need anybody else. You won't need another personal trainer. You won't need another coach. Like you won't need it. You may want it, but you're at a level whereby you're empowered, you're educated enough to understand this is why I feel how I feel, and these are the coping strategies to be able to implement to make myself feel better. And it's just like that doesn't really seem sexy in the social media, well, in modern day society, because it's that delayed gratification isn't a thing. It's I want it now, and it's obviously you just want to like bash heads together and be like, just you don't
But
need it now.
what is sexy is consistency and self-sufficiency, being able to do this on your own. One of my clients once said to me years ago in London, he said, "You're a victim of your own success because your best clients, when they get it, they don't need you anymore." And that should be every coach's goal. And I just want to touch on this, making things as simple as possible. It's actually something that I really wanted to talk about in this conversation. Um, People make it way more complicated than it needs to be. And let's use nutrition, fitness. Like I saw one of your content videos, something that I've shared many, many times. 4 basic movements: squat, push, overhead,
Yep.
some kind of push exercise, some kind of row exercise. Unless you are going to a physique competition or you are training for a sports specific goal, it is not more complicated than that. But before we get to that, on nutrition, right? I know, I'm assuming you're a carnivore, right?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so you're carnivore, I'm vegan. But let's forget about that. I call bullshit on needing to have certain amount of micros, certain amounts of macros. You said something in one of your videos, which is so fucking true. Just eat enough protein. It doesn't matter, in my opinion, where
Mhm,
it comes from, but you need enough protein. If you are not eating enough protein, you are not growing and you are dying. And the
mhm,
reason why I say this with so much conviction is because I come from Africa. Not only is it a tribal continent, but very tribal, still with many tribes, but there's so many poor people. And when I grew up living and working with people, like one of my jobs, working in the film industry, where I had black brothers with me, and I'm white, if you're listening to this on audio, doing the same hard labor as me, and they're eating bread and maize meal, which is like, and the best comparison, global comparison would be like oats. And
okay.
that's all they eat every day. Now, of course, there's protein in there, or and they, but they're not getting in everything that people say online that you need to get in. I get it. And if you're going for optimal health, but
Yeah.
a lot of it is just bullshit. I'm not going to use the word charlatans, like you
Mhm,
said, but I get what you're saying. It's really fucking simple.
mhm,
Eat less, eat more protein, and move more than you are.
mhm. 100%. I said, and
Sorry,
that's
I'm finished with my rant.
no. It's, I don't think it's a rant at all. I think, like I said, I think it would be that sort of thing would probably get people to embark on their journeys quicker because, like I said, it's like that analysis by paralysis. You follow X amount of people on social media, and it's like they all tell you different things. And I think,
And
like
look,
I
I'm
said,
not, and obviously, sorry to interrupt. We have many fitness connections between the two of us, right? And
mhm,
obviously, this is going to be shared, I'm assuming, on both of our platforms. I'm not having a dig. I'm just
no,
saying you should tell people the truth.
yeah,
If people around the world can live on rice, I live in Thailand right now. Most of the country is poor. They live on egg and rice. That's it. And they're
mm,
living 80, 90, 100 years old. So if you have a positive, this is what I believe, you have a positive mindset and you eat every day and you move your body, that's enough to be healthy.
I think you're spot on. I think it's just obviously there's. I guess it depends on everyone. It depends on what level that you're at. Obviously, like you said, use that word that I was going to use in terms of optimal. Depends on what if you're
Mm.
training for a specific sport or a specific event, then obviously that's whereby the macros and to the gram are going to be important if you're a boxer and obviously in terms of like making weight. But just for someone that wants to just to benefit their life, improve their life in some way. And obviously, where depends like a chicken and egg. Like, what comes first? Is it the mental recovery? Is it the physical recovery? Or do they kind of just link in together and you embark on one and the other one almost like seemingly happens as well? There's like synergy between the two. But like I said, it's not. It doesn't have to be complicated. I think it's just been made complicated because I guess I don't know if you it's been made complicated to push certain products or plans or
It's sellable.
packages.
It's sellable.
Exactly, and I think, like they said, just to try and strip it back to basics, and that's obviously depending on the type of person that's inquiring about my service. Listen, it may well be that someone's had a sedentary lifestyle. I don't even look at getting them in the gym. I just look at what's their current mindset, how do they see themselves, what are they currently eating, how much exercise are they getting, and it's just about
That's it.
making that 1% difference. And
Can
obviously
you
then
can
it's
you
just
can I just repeat what you just said? So if someone is not well, right, let's call it that. You
mhm,
look at how they look at themselves, how much they're eating, and did you say how much you're moving?
yeah, exactly that.
That's it. Once you're healthy and you think I want a six pack, then go supplements, macros,
Yeah,
micros, gym, split routine, workouts, all that shit. That stuff is just not necessary if you're just trying to get off the couch.
exactly. So there's levels to everything. And it's like you if you want to get that first rung on the ladder, that's what we need to look at. And then it's just over time. It may be their own internal ambition, but they've got
Mm.
themselves to a level, and then they want to push. Let's see where I can go, and that's when you start to make things a little bit more advanced and get into the details a bit more.
So let's talk about the foundation of clearly I've loved this conversation because I don't think I've ever done a podcast episode this long. I hope
Yeah.
it's okay to keep going.
No, no, absolutely fine.
Let's talk about the foundation for body transformation, which is protein.
Hmm.
I'm a professional athlete, still in my 40s. I keep my weight between 73, with my fight weight being between 71 and 73 kilograms. So, sorry, to keep my weight between about 75 and 80. If I
Okay.
get down to about 75 and I feel a bit skinny, I mean, generally skinny, but I'm like, oh, I want a little bit of muscle, I'd always just go up the protein.
Hmm.
So what's your advice for people on protein intake, both for sustaining your muscle and for growing muscle? I just thought I'd have you share it rather than me. I'm not a body transformation expert or a Adonis looking body like you.
I think it's just obviously the formula, it ranges again from whoever you speak to. It can range from, I think, like the scientific range is between, is it 0.6 and 1.8 like grams of protein per pound of body weight. But
Say that
I think
again. I've never heard it put like that. Say it
it's,
again.
it's between 0. The ratio is between 0.6
0.6.
and
Yeah.
1.8 grams of protein per pound of
Oh
body weight.
shit.
Um,
I
but
thought it
again,
was just if you want to gain, it's a pound. Uh,
that's
yeah,
that's probably the,
yeah, 1 gram
yeah,
for every pound. Yeah.
1 gram. 1 gram is the easy way to do it, because it's just obviously it's an easier calculation. But like you said, the range, again, it depends on who you speak to. It's like, so that's whereby there is that range. Like the ballpark figure and the easy way to work it out is one. Start at one, and then like you said, there is no one size fits all. Everybody's person dependent, because obviously everyone, you could have someone that's the same height, the same weight, they want the same goal. Their activity levels could be similar, and like 1 pound of protein could be absolutely optimal for this person. For this person over here, it's not enough, or it's too much. So again, it's about you have them on the nutrition plan, so they have their macros or their calories, and it's just about, for the first probably 2, 3, 4 weeks, it's about making sure that they give you as much feedback as like you're giving them, to make sure that we can dial it in so it's specific to that person. And obviously that's the only way that you're going to find that sweet spot, is by trying that. Is it working? Is your hunger levels good? Do you have sustained energy? Do you feel better in yourself? Are your workouts or your walks, are they easier? Is your general mood better? Okay, yeah, all right, then we'll stay at that for now, and then we'll address it after we start to progress the exercise more, or whatever. Or if your work changes, it's about obviously developing things that are going to help you, well, help serve you. So
I'm glad
yeah,
I asked you that question because, yeah, it really is different for every person. And, you spoke about before about wanting to feel stuff and medication taking that away. Our greatest guide in our life is our feelings.
yeah,
So the only way for you to know something is good in your life is it feels right. The only way
yeah,
for you to
exactly.
know that something's bad is it feels wrong. Or if
Hmm.
something is wrong, it feels bad. So go
Yeah.
with your feelings, go with your intuition. I'm just quite shocked that you can actually consume up to 1.8 grams per pound of body weight. That gives me like a whole nother fucking goal. Because I think like I always keep my protein intake as an athlete to like 80 to 100 grams. So I'm trying to look like a Muay Thai fighter, super
Yeah, yeah.
skinny, super lean. But if I want to look a little bit more bulky, I go 150 grams,
Okay.
which is like for me pretty much around 1 gram per
Well,
pound.
yeah.
But I think I have one more fight left in me. And then I think for the rest of my life, I'm really going to try and, for the first time in my life, other than when I was a fitness model for a little bit in my 20s, I'm going to try and get, as Charlie would say, stacked and jacked.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So I might need some of your help, bro. But
yeah,
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 1.8 grams. Wow, that's very interesting.
yeah.
That's a
Like,
lot of fucking
it's just
protein and a lot
it's
of
it's
gas.
just the yeah, yeah. It's just the spectrum, isn't it? Again, people can live off like almost like something fairly insurmountable to other people, whereas obviously some people, they could just be like fast metabolism, and they just process that much, that they need that much to be able to be in some kind of surplus, that their body's going to utilize that um, for wherever it could be, for obviously rest and recovery and growth. So yeah.
While we're on protein slash muscle, something that I don't believe gets talked about enough, like I really feel strongly about this, is people getting towards the later years in life, understanding why it is so crucial that you keep your muscle. Can you
Yeah.
just talk about that? Because, like, for example, I'm not going to go specific, but people in my family and loved ones, I see them, they look okay. But I know, as the, the personal trainer back in the day, that I know there's just fat, there's no muscle.
Hmm.
And there are like, there's so many things that can go wrong with that. Can you just talk about that for a second?
Yeah, see, like it kind of goes against what the mainstream like media or society think. They think that when you get older, it's too dangerous to lift weights because there's the risk of injury, and it's almost like that's counterintuitive because it's like
Mm.
you are at less risk of being injured if you are still able to retain a certain amount of muscle. And it's just about, yeah, it's just about your body. It's protecting your body. Obviously, the older you get, like there is just that general like decline in your health, whether that be from a from a bone density point of view. Obviously, as you age, obviously your calcium, your bones just decrease, and the way to protect that is obviously to have an element of muscle on your frame. And obviously, I know it's a lot harder to gain more muscle than later on in age because obviously in regards to men after the age of 35, obviously our natural testosterone levels just start to decrease. So it's almost like it's kind of a call to action to try and have as much muscle on your body from a relatively early age, whereby the rate of decline is going to be less. If you have, obviously, if I'm like, for me, for example, I'm about 15 and a half stone, and I'm probably 8% body fat year round. So obviously I have a lot of muscle on my body. So if I continue with the consistency, like I'm going to have more muscle on my frame when I reach my 40s and my 50s, rather than someone that is probably the rate of the decline in my muscle is going to be less than someone that hasn't had that much and hasn't been as consistent as me. So it's a lot harder to develop it at a later age
Mm.
than to try and maintain it. And that's whereby, see, to me, again, people go, I've had not an argument, but discussions with people that go, oh, it's easy for you because you're in shape. It's like, it's
But
not
I
easy for
wasn't.
me. I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, I wasn't. But then also, like, I have the exact same mindset as a person that is obese and chooses not to go to the gym. The amount of effort that you take into constantly eating in a surplus, that takes discipline, that takes routine, that takes structure.
Mm.
You're just doing it in a way that isn't going to serve you in the future. You have the mindset, you have the ability to be routined. You're just focusing it on a way that is destructive to your life.
Mm.
And obviously, like if you're able to flip it and use it to serve you better, it's going to hold you in a far better stead in the long run. And that's all we want. All we want is longevity. Like I want to be here as long as possible. And the only way that you're going to do that is if you are maybe not at optimum health, but you are above average. And the way in which that I always like hark back to it is fitness, is lifting weights. It's obviously it's the physical. You get so much from it in regards from a physical point of view. Like you are, it's like hard things, easy life, easy things, hard life. Like what you do in the gym and like you, I don't say to people to beast themselves. I don't need people to work out how I work out, but I work out like short, sharp, like 45 minute in like workouts and I'm done. But I do it heavy because I know that if I do that, what I have to deal with in the day isn't as hard as what my workouts were. So therefore, nothing's as hard. I've already done that hard thing for the day. So it's like it's teaching me like the discipline, delayed gratification. Like there's so many different things that it teaches you from a mental point of view, but then also physically. Like I'm healthy, I'm strong, um, I'm confident. Um, People can say that it's arrogant. It's definitely not arrogant. It's like I love myself because I didn't love myself for so long, and I'm proud of what I do.
Someone just told me that yesterday.
What about
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, you
yes,
really fucking love yourself. And I was like, fucking damn right I do. It's taken me
yeah,
all of this time. It's taken me all of this time. So
yeah,
damn right.
yeah, 100%. So like if you can't it's that old saying that you can't be with anybody else until you love yourself. And I'm very comfortable on my own. Like when I have been single, I've went on holiday on my own. I go to restaurants on my own. I go to the cinema on my own. Like, I don't give a fuck. Like, if I want to go and do something, I don't need someone to hold my hand or to have company to do it. Like, I'm very self-assured because, like you said, when you go through dark times, everything's a fucking blessing after that. Like, you see the benefit in everything. Just to be able to, like, where I am at the minute, I can literally see the sea from my parents' balcony, and it's just like I have, like, I'm healthy enough to be able to go for a walk along the beach. And it's like, when you don't have it, you want it, and almost like if you've never not had it, you don't see it as a blessing and like
Yeah.
to use it. And obviously that's whereby when you've been on this journey of transformation and self-discovery, the two things, it's empathy and sympathy. Like, to have empathy with people, and you what's the word? It's almost like you don't take the little things for granted anymore, because you
Mm.
once didn't have them and now you do have them, and now it's just like you everything's beautiful, because at times and in the past it's been fucking horrible. And I think that's whereby I think anyone that's ever struggled in life, if they can go through that self-development journey and have them the building blocks to make their lives better, and have them coping mechanisms in place to be able to keep the darkness away, it's like life is beautiful, because
Life is beautiful, bro.
yeah. And it's like life is always gonna, I coined the phrase, I have to probably put it in a PG term on here, but like, life is always gonna screw you. Let's
Say it
just
how
be honest.
you want to say it.
Life is always gonna fuck you up the ass. That's like, and obviously
Oh
I
my
yeah.
God.
Then it's like,
I
that's
didn't think
that's
that was coming anyway. Yeah.
but it is. It's like, in the last 8 years of my own transformation journey, I've got like a scar on my neck whereby they thought it was cancer, but I had to have a surgery to remove it. I've
Wow.
then I went through 3 leg breaks in 8 months. So again, your story when I met you, it was just like, Christ Almighty, this guy is literally like, I'm relating to everything this guy is saying. Like, your whole talk, I was just like, I there was obviously, everybody there is a champion in their industry. They're an expertise in their field. It's like, I was just compelled to come and speak to you, and like that 5 minute, 10 minute chat that we had, like in the interval, it was just like, I just your story was so powerful, and it was just like, I can understand, and from a slightly different circumstances, I can relate to everything that you've been through, and I know how fucking strong that you are for the journey that you've been on, and how everything is, like I said, everything is a blessing after that. And it was just like, yeah, I was meant to be in Dubai. I was meant to meet Charlie, but I think solely I was meant to meet you. We were meant to connect. And obviously, like I say, it's been, what, from November to now. It has been an absolute, like, privilege. Like I said, there's always going to be people that come and go in your lives, and I think it's just like, to be able to, well, it's the network. It's the network, isn't it? Like, your network is your net worth. And to be able to be at an event like that, and you're going to be around people that are in similar industries doing the same type of things that you, just at different levels and different stages. It's like, and if you can get to speak to people, and they can give you either a fresh perspective, a different pair of eyes on the thing that you're doing, or they've been through similar stories to you, just in different ways. It's just like, Christ Almighty. It's like, this was like, it was meant to be. It was like fate. It was like, I was meant to be in Dubai at the same time as you.
Well, bro, I believe all good relationships, great relationships even, are a fair value exchange. And as much as I've given you inspiration, you inspire me too. So let's keep taking our stories and sharing them with the world as far as we can, and remembering that our life is not for us.
100%.
Our suffering, your suffering, your current divorce, separation,
Hmm.
the kids situation, the eating disorder, all the suffering I've had, it's not for us.
Yeah.
It happened to us, but it's not for us.
Yeah. To
It's
help
for
serve other
every
people.
it's for everyone that we can serve with our stories, bro. So
Yeah.
let's keep taking that spiritual fitness journey of resilience, and having the courage to face the fear and go inwards, onwards, and upwards.
Love that.
I've got some body goals. Once I get this fight out of the way, I've got a body goal, and definitely I'm using you as a role model for how I want to look by the end of 2024. So there you go. There's my
Great
public
stuff.
declaration.
Love that. Love that.
You can follow James, the mental health PT on Instagram. How else can people follow you?
It's the same on TikTok as well, and LinkedIn.
Nice
It's pretty,
branding.
yeah. Kind of sums it all up, doesn't it?
Bro, it's been special. It's been a special conversation, and you can't see, but just I've got a little seating area by my pool. I'm going to go sit there and just kind of take it in, because there was a couple of things you said that really resonated with me early on in the conversation. And I hope that other people listening to this and watching it find the value that I got from spending this time with you. It's been a pleasure, bro.
Yeah.
I'll just end on this. Obviously, I know you're going through a challenge right now, but how blessed you are to be able to press the reset button on your life yet again.
Yeah. Yep. You're
Where
always in control.
most people don't get to even press the reset button, and they're just stuck in a life that they don't want.
Mm-hmm.
So I see you, I salute you, I celebrate you, and if there's any way I can support you, let me know.
I really appreciate it. Honestly, I say it's obviously been an absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
Awesome,
I
bro.
appreciate your
Thanks for
time.
coming on. Cheers.
Take care. See you, mate.